So we're about 18 hours into the chassis pull and strip down, and you can see we've got quite a lot done. We've steering rack's gone, radiator's gone, wiring loom's gone, fuel tank's gone, coolant hoses are gone, and it's been very enjoyable. I must say, working on modern cars, it's almost like the engineers at the car manufacturing companies go out of the way to make it difficult for us mechanics to work on their cars, whereas this is so simple, so rudimentary, so straightforward. It's very enjoyable, and I highly recommend it. It's certainly within the capabilities of most people to do. Looking at the car chassis, of course, the reason why we pulled it was it's getting to be very crusty, and you can see here very common rust situations. Rust area is the front clip, and you can see how the rust has come up, and it's even as far up as here, and that's really down to the epoxy, I believe. Once the epoxy cracks, it allows moisture into the back of it, and direct contact with the bare mild steel, and you could be looking at your chassis and everything looks hunky-dory, and then behind it it's facilitating rust to occur, and before you know it, your chassis will be in bits. So yeah, the chassis is 40 plus years old. I think it's entitled to a pull down and inspection. And the emphasis I'm trying to make here is it's not that hard. I know it looks daunting, but it's not. One of the things I will say is if you are deciding to pull it, don't use an impact gun like me. I tried this in this bolt here for the body, and this is a captured nut, and it decided to spin on me. I believe because I used the impact gun, so I ended up having to cut the bolt out. So don't make that mistake that I made. Here we are looking at the gear selector. It's grubby, but it's still as crisp as the first day. So I'll pull that out and give it a good service and clean up. Again, with the chassis out, all this is very straightforward and very simple and enjoyable to do. So that's the progress so far. We found a couple of little gremlins, I'll show them to you now, but all in all, quite pleased with the progress. Here's another reason for removing the chassis in your car. Some people would tell you that the rot in the car or the rust in the car only occurs from the bottom up. Well, take a look at this dirty little secret. This is situated just where the fuel tank sits. It's not exposed to anything, but it has rotted through, and the panel will have to be cut out and replaced. Looking forward, you can see where the epoxy has failed, and it's also rusting and rotted through. And if this continues on the way it was going, this whole leg would have collapsed. So a day out is not a big deal to pull the chassis and evaluate it. If it's a vehicle that you love and care for, it might be a good idea. And again, just emphasizes the point of pulling the chassis at some point. If you're worried about it or you think it's more than you can do, it's not. And hopefully these videos will prove that for you. But perfect example of why this chassis needed to come out and be inspected. One of the great things about having the chassis off the car is it exposes pretty much everything and gives you an idea of basically what you've got with your car. One of the important parts that you do need to address is your rear trailing arm bolt. These have been known to shear with dire consequences. So if you have an opportunity, or if you're doing an upgrade in your chassis, you definitely need to do these. One of the other things I will mention is the bolts that secure the mount to the chassis. I have come across some of these cars with these bolts not properly torqued, and this bracket has actually been loose. How energy works is it travels, so the energy would travel through the trailing arm, through the bolt, through the mount, and then into the chassis to be dissipated. If these bolts are loose and this bracket is loose, that doesn't happen, and it puts extreme pressure and extreme load on the trailing bolt. So when you do the bolt, change your bolts that secure your mount to the chassis with high tensile and a lock nut on the back.